Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is some more footage taken from the public beta environment, the PBE, and this time we're going to be looking at a true damage team composition, another one of these music-themed traits that have been added here in set 10. All right, we always start with an opening portal. My option is to take first augment gold here. I don't really care too much about any of these, but I would probably prefer to avoid the player health increase. Adding more health to everybody in the game just kind of drags things out and doesn't really seem to be that interesting to me. For once we have a pretty even split amongst the three portals, it's more common to have like 6 or 7 people run to the same one. But it turns out that we're going to get unit accelerator, which gives a little bit of additional attack speed to everybody. I think it's 10% additional attack speed. Yeah, 10% attack speed and bonus movement speed. So this is going to favor an AD and a melee unit based setup, which is actually what I end up getting here for the most part. So that's kind of handy. Not that that's going to have a huge effect on the game, but it's a little bit worse for spellcasting team compositions. All right, so as I said, we're going to be looking at a true damage team composition. I've gotten a Pantheon out of the initial orb. Pantheon is a 2-cost Guardian, and I don't see anything that I want all that much on this initial flop of champions. I believe I just pick up everything here, everything except the headliner. I didn't really want to play a Evelyn with KDA trait. KDA seems like it's been pretty underpowered throughout the PBE. I'm sure it'll get buffed into overpowered status at some point, but it seems like it's been a bit underpowered, at least up to this point in time. So I don't really have anything yet. I'm trying to see if I can find some direction in terms of my team composition. And then I get this. I get a Kennen with a true damage headliner ability. Kennen has 3 traits, so you can get a lot of different Kennens. I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I haven't played true damage yet. Let's give this a try. I've been just trying to test out as many different playable setups as I can get here before the set makes it too far along. And so we'll take this, and that's going to give me 2 ranks of true damage, just as all the headliners do. If you're new to set 10, the headliner units come as 2-star units, and one of their traits will be doubled. And then I actually get a Senna here as well, which is going to give me 4 true damage. Yeah, so it's actually super early to be able to get 4 true damage in. I'm going to be able to hit that pretty quickly. All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at our options here. I'm not really seeing anything I like that much out of these. I don't really like Combat Caster, Salvagement. Idealism's okay, but then I was like, Clear Minds here. What if we just try to do a Clear Mind game? This augment's been around for a while. If there's no champions on your bench, gain 3 experience. Only works on player combat rounds, not minion rounds, which is actually a change. At one point in time, it did work on minion rounds back in set 6. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and we're going to have 3 units, or excuse me, we're going to have 4 units on our board. We have 4 true damage, 2 guardian. This is a pretty good opener here. And it's only possible because the headliner trait for Kennen was true damage. I only have 3 of these units in, but I'm going to go ahead and get the benefit of having 4 units. And true damage is going to kick in. So let's go ahead and cover this trait. It's the featured trait in this particular video. I will go ahead and read the formal description here. True damage, a trait with 2, 4, 6, and 9 tiers. To get the 9 tier, you have to have a true damage headliner and double emblems, which is almost impossible to do, although I guess it's somewhat possible. Anyway, true damage. True damage champions deal bonus true damage. In addition to this, if they're holding an item, they gain a unique bling bonus for their ability. So if you put an item on them, they get an additional ability. But the main thing is they deal bonus true damage. And this is always dangerous anytime that Riot puts actual true damage in the game. True damage is something that ignores armor and magic resistance. The only thing that it just operates on health as if there was no armor or MR at all. There have been traits like this before. The famous Void Assassins from back in set 1 could do true damage. Actually, it was the Void trait, but it was always played with Assassins. That ability did true damage. Right now, true damage, the trait here in set 10, right now at the tier 2, it's 15% additional true damage, and then at tier 4, which is what I have, it's 30% additional true damage. One thing that's nice is you can actually see the damage on the little damage chart at the end of these fights. Actual true damage shows up as white on the graph, so you have a chance to see how much damage was physical, how much was magic, and how much was true damage. And you can see Senna and Kennen both did a pretty sizable amount of true damage. I guess Yasuo did a little bit, but he was mostly just tickling the enemies there. Good news is I was able to win the first 2 rounds, even though I, have nothing on my bench. So I'm just hoping I can continue that along here. And I was like, cool. A Pantheon in the store. We're level 5. We'll just put the extra Pantheon on the board. That works for me. I also would have the option to play a Jinx here. I could get Rapid Fire trait in. Jinx would actually give me Punk and Rapid Fire, so maybe I should have played that instead. But I'm not planning on going a dedicated Punk build in this game. And I thought that having an additional frontliner would not be bad. I would love to get one more Pantheon and be able to 2-star it. This is one of the things you can do with Clear Mind is you can stash additional units on the board itself. So like I can't hold that Pantheon on the bench, but I can just play 2 Pantheons, and that gets me to 2 out of 3, while still working towards hopefully making the 2-star version of the unit. Anyway, this person I'm up against also has Clear Mind in operation, and interestingly, they're playing it with a Jinx headliner, which is really kind of weird because Jinx plays into Punk compositions, and Punk is a reroll trait. You kind of actually have to reroll a little bit every single turn to get full value out of the trait. So I wouldn't say that there's a lot of synergy between Clear Mind, which is a push to level 9 or level 10 as fast as possible, and Punk, which is a reroll trait. Doesn't seem like there's much synergy there. Also, because you can't hold units on your bench, which is the whole point of re-rolling with Punk trait, but maybe they're just playing that as a transition unit, and then they'll dump it early on and get a different headliner, so we'll have to see. All right, I have won all 3 of the initial rounds. That means I'm going to be the last one to pick here on the carousel, so I'm just waiting to see what I could potentially get. I do see that there's a Senna here on the carousel, so that is a potential possibility. Of course, that would just get me to 2 out of 3 Sennas, and I wouldn't have a way to stash that on my bench. But anyway, yeah, that is the best option. I think that's more useful than the tier. It can be a Gargoyle Stoneplate for Kennen that can move to another unit later on in the game. But he can hold it for right now. And oh, look at this. Happy days are here. I end up getting a 2-star Pantheon in the store, and now I can stash this extra Senna on the board. So I continue to get Clear Mind benefit. That's a really lucky combination to get the Pantheon in the store and then not have to sell this additional Senna. But yeah, I've already have 2 2-star frontliners and then 2 out of 3 Sennas for the back line. So it's looking pretty good. As far as the unit that I'm playing through right now, it really is the Senna in terms of damage. Kennen's tanking for me, but Kennen is pretty much just a frontline tank unit. Guardian trait means that when your units drop lower, when they drop below 50% health, they put a shield on themselves and their next closest ally. It's not really that interesting. Senna, though, on the other hand, interesting unit. Traits true damage plus rapid fire. She seems to get a lot of play on different boards I've seen, often played together with Kennen. Kennen giving true damage for a frontliner, and then Senna true damage for a backliner, so they seem to pair pretty well together. As far as what her trait actually does, I'm still trying to figure out how to itemize this unit properly. Her ability is called Concussive Noise, fires a blast of sound at the current target location. It pulses 3 times, dealing magic damage to enemies within 1 hex. So she deals magic damage, not physical damage, which is what you might think. Her bling bonus is minus 15 max mana. So normally she needs 90 mana to cast, but she only needs 75 to cast if she has an item on, and if you have the true damage trait in play, which you probably will want if you're going to be playing through her. Going from 90 mana cost to 70 mana cost is a very big deal. And so I've also put a Spear of Shojin on her. This does seem to be one of her most important items, just so that she casts more often. I believe it gets her down to like 4 or 5 autos before she needs to cast, let's see, 1, 2, 3... All right, I didn't manage to count how many. I think she needs 5 autos to cast with the Shojin from nothing, which is a lot better than if she doesn't have the. I think it's either 7 or 8 to cast if she doesn't have a Shojin. I believe it goes down to 5 if she has it, and of course it also gives a small amount of ability power. And then look at this, we just managed to hit the 2-star Senna, so we're definitely hitting in this game, which is going to allow me to stash another Yasuo on the board. It's kind of interesting, when set 10 first came out on the public beta environment, Yasuo was extremely overpowered. There's actually multiple things working in his favor. On the one hand, his numbers were just overtuned, his numbers were just too high, and they brought them down quite a bit since then. And the other thing is he had a bug which was causing him to get stacks way faster than he normally is supposed to. By the way, I can pick up a Twitch here because I can hold these units because this is a minion round, and Clear Mind does not activate on minion rounds, only after PvP rounds. So it doesn't matter if I have units on my bench here. I figured I'd just hold for a round and see what I could get. But anyway, Yasuo, they've toned down his numbers a fair bit. I definitely want to level here. So what's the best unit to put in? Well, it's definitely the Jinx. That'll give me Punk and Rapid Fire, so we might as well put that in. And that's going to help us out. Punk, as I said, is a reroll trait. I've been trying to get a game where I could do some Punk game. I've actually played, I think, 3 or 4 different Punk games. I haven't quite managed to put it all the way together in some of them. Excuse me, I actually had a game where just played a game the day before as I'm recording this where I was contested with another person who was also playing Punk, and I was able to turn that into a top 4, and I think they got a 7th. So I was pretty happy with that, being contested and still managing to put up a top 4 finish. But obviously it's a lot easier when someone else is not re-rolling for the same units and taking them out of the pool. I'm sure Antisocial Monkey will figure out how to optimize that comp later, but for right now, still trying to figure it out. All right, so as I mentioned, we're still playing the 4 true damage. That's been really strong up to this point in time. Again, I'm just trying to increase my level as high as possible. I would like to get up to level 8 before I have to roll, if at all possible. On level 8, you have a chance to get 4-cost headliners in the shop, and that's a big deal. You can't get 4-cost headliners at level 7, so you really would like to get up to level 8, if at all possible. Now, here's what I don't want to see, a prismatic augment. I'm doing great right now. I really don't want a prismatic augment that's going to shuffle the power amount of a lobby. So I'm looking at these different options. I was like, I don't know if I want radiant relics. I mean, maybe. I'm looking at the different options. I was like, I think cybernetics is the best option here. And the reason for that is cybernetics is going to give, 500 health, 550 health to any unit holding an item. Well, that's actually a big deal for me because I'm going to want to spread out items anyway for true damage. Trait. True damage trait, one of the weakness of this is you have to put an item on a unit in order to get their bling bonus, and I hate that name. But if you don't put an item on a unit, then they don't get that additional bonus. And I decide I'm just going to level here because I'm on a big win streak and I can still stay over 20 gold. I'm going to level here and look to put in a Yone, who's a unit that I'm going to want to play later on. Yone combos very well with Yasuo, as you might expect. They both have edgelord traits, they tend to be played together in most of these team compositions. Of course, I do not have edgelord trait in yet. I only have 2 out of 3, but I'm hoping I'll find one more Yasuo, and then that'll free up a slot, and I could put in like a Kale or a Riven or something and get up to 3 edgelord. Have a little bit more in my composition, because for right now, it's pretty much the Senna that's carrying me right now. And like in a normal game, I would pick up a Mumu here. But I'm not going to pick up a Mumu because I don't want to take up bench space. I don't want to eat up that bench slot for him. Yeah, so anyway, I do definitely want to spread out items, both so that I can get cybernetics benefit and so I can also get that extra ability on the true damage units. As far as what Kennen gets, I actually don't know what his bling bonus is. Let's see. His ability discharges 2 jolts of electricity over 2 seconds. Each one deals magic damage and stuns. His bling bonus is he discharges at a second target for 80% damage and stun duration. Okay. So he hits 2 enemies with his stun instead of 1 if he has an item on there. Okay. So that's kind of nice. Obviously, it's good that he's being played. Kennen doesn't really deal damage. He's being played for tankiness and for crowd control. But, I mean, if he's stunning 2 targets instead of 1, that's, it's not bad. And then we still have the Pantheon. Yeah, we're just kind of cruising through these people. And look at how much true damage Senna did there. She did like a third of her damage as true damage. I'm still not quite sure how to itemize her because she does a mixture of physical and magic damage. I've seen people itemize her with physical damage items, and it has seemed to work relatively well. So until this goes out on live and we have like the full data of what people are testing and what's performing the best, I'm not exactly sure, but it does seem like Spirit Shojin's pretty good on her. Whether to go more AP or like more on hit effects or more AD, I'm not sure. I've also seen a lot of people use her as a transition unit. Like we'll put AD items on her and then move them to like a Caitlyn or a Lucian or something like that later on, or like an Ezreal or something. Those are all 4 and 5 cost units that use AD items. So she's often played as a transition unit too. But out of the options here, I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'll just go ahead and make Jeweled Gauntlet. Somebody can use that later on. And in addition to that, it's going to allow her damage to crit. So that seems pretty nice. Remember, she does deal magic damage, not physical damage. Her auto attacks deal physical damage. Her ability deals magic damage. And then some of that, 30% of that, well, actually, no, it's not 30% of that. She gets a bonus 30% damage. That is, that is going to be true damage. So yeah, I am just trying to level up here. I keep highlighting the units in here. I'm trying to figure out what my late game team composition is going to be because this set is still very new to me as well. I was trying to see if there was another edgelord that tied in here to true damage, and it didn't look like there really was one all that well. I'm looking for an Echo who's going to have true damage trait, and then I need to find either a Kali or at the 5 cost tier I could find Kiana. That's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But Kiana has Crowd Diver bonus, so that will pair with Yone. Another reason why Yone tends to fit this board pretty well. Edgelord for Yasuo, and then if you can get Kiana, Crowd Diver for that as well. There's an Echo, so I definitely should try to play this unit. And again, I'm on full win streak, so I was like, all right, we'll just level and play this unit as well. If this allows me to maintain win streak, it's 100% worth it to do that leveling. And if not, it's still another way to get a unit on the board, so I'm reasonably happy with that. Now I've been able to get up to level 8 here at the end of stage 3, so that's really, really nice. And I'll have the option to potentially look to try to roll here. So you can see now I have 30% odds to find 4-cost headliners when headliners appear in the shop. So I'm going to be up against one of the Punk players. I think the person who was playing Jinx initially, the person who had Clear Mind ended up dropping that Jinx, the other Clear Mind player. But this person is going dedicated Punk reroll here. So anyway, I am up against that Jinx. Can we manage to kill the 3-star Jinx before she manages to kill my team? And no. So that's a bit unfortunate. It's going to interrupt my big win streak right before the minion round, which is really unfortunate right there. And hey, look, it's an Akali, so that actually will get me up to 6 true damage. There we go. 6 true damage. Very, very nice. So I definitely do not want to move out of the Kennen right now, because if I lose the Kennen, I'll drop down to 5 true damage. So I do want to move out of the Kennen headliner eventually, but I need to find a Kiana before I can do that. There's also a strong argument here that, so what I ended up doing was I saw it a lot of 1-stars. I ended up rolling a bit here on this level. I think that you could make the argument that that was a misplay, and that what I should have done is just push to 9 immediately as fast as possible. I actually do get the advantage of the cheap reroll here. By the way, I could get Edgelord in by playing the Yone, but by doing that, and I'm going to go ahead and swap this out. I don't really need Punk trait. We'll play Kate. She's a better rapid-fire unit. But you can make the argument, instead of rolling here, what I should have done is just gone to 9 as soon as possible, put 1 item on Akali, put 1 item on Yasuo, and just get up to level 9 as fast as possible. So yeah, I am trying to split up these items a little bit. I decide, I have the items for a Titans here. It's a pretty good Yasuo item, so maybe I should just put that on him to try to get the bling bonus. But as I said, I think that there's a decent argument to be made. Just clear your bench here, go to level 9 ASAP. You can be level 9 at the end of this, be level 9 by the end of this stage. I have 93 health in the bank, so probably have more than enough health to get there. Might go down to, like 50-ish, but that should be more than enough. And then just rely on being level 9, thanks to Clear Mind. But no, I ended up rolling here a fair bit, and I do think if I were to do this game again, I probably would have looked to just level more aggressively with Clear Mind. All right, here I get a great augment, blinged out. Your true damage champions gain. I actually get another Yasuo here. They gain 100 health and 10% attack. I think it's 100 health and 8% attack speed for each item that they're holding. And it also gave me a Yasuo, which is pretty nice as well. So yeah, let's see. What am I thinking about here? I was like, or actually, is this the point where I decided to clear my bench and go level 9? I'm trying to remember what I did here. It has been a day or two since I played this game. In the meantime, though, I did make a Titans on Yasuo. Yasuo's basically in this comp. Yeah, here we go. And then I did end up clearing. Okay, so I guess I did go to level 9 fairly quickly. I didn't end up rolling that much on level 8. I thought that I had stayed there longer in retrospect, but this is probably the right play. I didn't waste a lot of time there. Now we're just going to go level 9 and look to find an updated headliner once we can get up to level 9. Anyway, so I do have the Echo in now. I also have an item on Yasuo. I have an item on Echo, so they are each getting their bling bonus. They are also both getting the cybernetics bonus of that extra health. Echo is a tank. He has 3 traits: True Damage, Sentinel, and Spellweaver. We're trying to use the Sentinel trait here, though I do not actually have Sentinel trait in. You're going to have to find a Blitzcrank or something to pair with that. His ability is Record Scratch, deals magic damage to enemies within 2 hexes and stuns them, gains a health shield for 4 seconds. So he damages units around them and then stuns and gains a shield. The bling bonus is while the shield is up, he gains 100 health every second. That's kind of nice. So he heals. And then as for Yasuo, Yasuo has a passive. Every time he kills an enemy, he permanently gains 1% attack damage. That has not factored into this game at all. So Yasuo is another stacking unit. And by the way, there's a Blitz. I would dearly love to play this Blitz. You know what I should have done? I should have taken out the Yone and just played this Blitz. That would have been much better. Yone's not doing anything right now. None of his traits are active. Edgelord's not active. Crowd Diver's not active. And what else does he have? I think his other trait is Heartsteel. So yeah, none of Yone's traits are active. I should have just sold Yone and put Blitz in. That would have been a lot better. Definitely shouldn't have let this Blitz get away from me because I really could use some more frontline. Like, Kennen was great for the early game, but he's fallen off pretty hard now. And I'm losing to this Pentakill team that has a 3-star Kale. So yeah, that was a mistake as well. One of the reasons why I do these games is I try to look back and see what I could have done differently. Again, I expect to lose these rounds because I'm econing up to level 9. But I think Blitz would have been way, 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 way better than the Yone that's not actually doing anything. I would want Yone if I was playing through Yasuo, but I'm not playing through Yasuo, so it's not really that significant. Anyway, I'm going to grab this sword because I'm next going to try to put items on Akali, and Akali's going to be my main carry because she is a 4-cost true damage unit. Anyway, so yeah, that's the plan. So we're going to grab a sword. By the way, I'm assuming that Clear Mind still works even if you take a unit off the carousel. Almost put that on Kate. That would have been pretty bad, but almost put that on Caitlyn, but no. So yeah, so we're going to have to rely on Senna for a little while longer, but I do want to transition to Akali and some other late game units long term because Senna's a 2-cost unit, and unless you 3-star her, she's not really going to be viable in the late game. All right, anyway, I was talking about Yasuo before. As I said, Yasuo's ability, every time he kills an enemy, he permanently gains 1% attack damage. But that really has not factored into this game at all because Yasuo was 1-star and no items for most of the game. He's just in there as a trade bot right now. So I don't really need to worry too much about Yasuo. His bling bonus is he executes enemies under 15% health. So that's pretty nice. It does help him stack up kills by having that. But yeah, again, he's not really doing that much. By the way, this fight's pretty sad. Look how many units are low. It's like half the team is on 10% health or less, but do end up losing that one. Senna did a tremendous amount of true damage in that fight. Almost got through that team. It's another pentakill team, it looks like. So yeah, I am losing some of these rounds. That's not a surprise, but I should be able to get to level 9 after the minion round. And, level 9 on 5-1 is always a great situation to be in. And then hopefully we can find a better headliner. Again, we really need to find, and I would really like, by the way, this is where I make another decision. I see that there's an Akali headliner here. And I decide, you know what? I want this Akali, but I also want this Echo as well. But I also want to get the Clear Mind benefit for another round. So you know what we can do? We can lock our shop and just go from there. Now, there is one issue here, and that is that I have not found a Qiyana yet. So when I switch over to this Akali, I am going to drop down to 4 true damage from 6 true damage. And that is a pretty big drop-off because true damage 6 is giving me 45% bonus true damage. That'll drop down to 30%, but getting this Akali headliner is really, really nice. So I thought that I had to go ahead and make this, go ahead and lock in the store for this. There was also an argument, though, that I could have been more patient. I could have just waited a little bit longer. On level 9, you actually have a chance to get 5-cost headliners. And the Akali is not quite the right trait. I really would prefer this to be a true damage Akali. It's an executioner Akali, which is not bad. But again, in order to play true damage is 6, which is what I'd like to play. I either have to play all 6 true damage champions, which includes Kennen and Qiyana. I have not found Qiyana yet, and Kennen as a 1-cost is not very good in the late game. It would be much better if this was a true damage Akali. Then I could play 6. I could play 6 true damage, and I wouldn't have to play Kennen. I could just play Qiyana when I find her. So yeah, and I also am going to have to sell my current Akali, who I put that item on. So I go ahead and toss in a K'Sante for 2 Sentinel. K'Sante's a 1-cost unit. He's not what I want, and I also need to get Pantheon off the board at this point too. Pantheon was giving me a Guardian trait, but now that Kennen's not on the board, he's not doing anything, and he is also getting outdated as a 2-cost unit. Now I was hoping for Akali items here. Am I getting Akali items? Not really. I'm getting more AP, so Akali deals physical damage, so that's not really going to help. There's Nico. I should put that on the board. Okay, that was a mistake. Should have put that Nico on the board. Definitely want to snap up the Ziggs. All right, well, in good news, we are managing to hit some units. 2-star, and we also have a Lucian here. There's Kane, so that's another 5-cost unit. I can put him in, and he's actually going to make several traits for me. He's going to go ahead and make Edgelord. and he also gives me a crowd diver. He also gives me heart steal for what that's worth. I'm going to go ahead and put the I'm going to make a death cap out of those items. Maybe I should have pulled the maybe I should have looked to pull the item box first. But I'll go ahead and put that on. I made a death cap for Senna because she uses AP items. And now I need to try to sort out what I've got here. I do have the Zig, so that's a possibility. Maybe I could put my AP items on Ziggs. He does seem to be pretty good. And by the way, we're all shooting at this Riven right now. Riven was very overtuned at the time that this game was being played. They actually gave her a humongous series of nerfs. They increased her mana cost from 50 to 100, and even after they did that, she was still really strong. So yeah, her numbers were not especially balanced, unfortunately. Alrighty, so we need to get Pantheon out of here. Definitely need to move him. We can move into the Nico. And what I really should be looking to do is definitely get some more frontline in here. So anyway, that's going to give me a Sentinel. I could try to play 4 Sentinels with Nico in here and Blitzcrank, or I could just look to play another combination of units. What's often good to do is just get a mixture of the different type of tank units in the late game. All right, so here we've got a Heartsteel Kane. That's kind of interesting, but I don't really want Heartsteel. That's the economic trait. So even though I do find a 5-cost headliner, it's not a trait that's really going to be useful to me. I'm just going to continue to clear my bench. I'm trying to continue rolling here. What I really need, though, is more items for Akali. One of the problems with my setup here is a lot of my carry items are on Senna, and she's a 2-cost unit. So it's like she's trying her best right now, but she's just kind of gotten outscaled by this point in time in the game. So I'd really like to get these items on like a better unit, like a 5-cost unit. Again, they'd be really good on Kiana, potentially, because, well, they're a little odd. The Spear Shojin would be awkward, but Kiana deals magic damage. And yeah, look at that. Senna is the big damage dealer by far in this fight. You makes you think, what if I had 3-starred her? But wasn't really in the cards with Clear Mind going for 3 stars. So I do have Kane on my board. I also have the Ziggs. I really should hold on to the Ziggs. I really should hold on to the Ziggs. I keep saying that. The traits on Ziggs don't really match my team, but he's just a good unit, and I've been seeing an awful lot of Ziggs on my store. Ziggs could take these 3 items, and actually I probably could have had 2-star Ziggs by now. 2-star Ziggs with these items would have been absolutely awesome, so I really should have looked to do that. Alternately, I could have tried to play like Yorick and Thresh here. They're the 2 top-tier Guardians. That would be pretty nice, because I could use some more frontline. I think my frontline's a little weak. So, again, part of the reason why these videos can be a little interesting to go back and look at is there's a lot of different things you can play in the late game. Like, there's just a ton of different things you can play. And early on in the set, it's really confusing as far as what units and what traits to be playing. It can be pretty overwhelming. I definitely want to play a lot of true damage because I have a true damage augment. So I definitely want to play 4 true damage, but there are some units on this board that I don't really need. Like, I don't think that Yone is really doing a whole lot. He accelerates Yasuo, but what is Yasuo doing? What I really should do is get Kiana and then take Yasuo and Yone out, and then that would clear up space to maybe play some more frontliners, and maybe like transfer the items on. I'm going to go ahead and take this. What is this? Starks? I can't remember what this is. I think it's Sterix is the name. I'm going to put this on Akali. It's like a tank plus melee AD item, so it's going to be pretty good on her. But yeah, I've got Lucian in there and Misfortune to pick up Jazz Trade. I don't know that they're really the units that I want, honestly. At least we're going to get Blitzcrank in. He's the top Sentinel, top 4-cost Sentinel. But yeah, like these items, I think all these AP items really would have been good on Ziggs. So it was a pretty big mistake not playing him overall. Anyway, I'm still rolling here. There is finally a Kiana. So again, I think the play here... Oh, I actually went past the Kiana. That's a pretty big mistake not picking that up. So yeah, definitely could have done a lot of things. I had plenty of gold here to roll with. The question was just building the late game team. And early on in the set, it's just really hard to do that because you don't get that many opportunities to practice with the late game. Like, you see all the early game units in every single game, but you don't make it deep enough into the game to see all the late game units that often. Clearly, in retrospect, I stuck with the Senna way too long. Obviously, could have moved these items over to Ziggs. They would have been fantastic Ziggs items. And then I could have put like a 1-star Senna back in to make sure I maintain the true damage trait. Also would have loved to have gotten a true damage emblem. One of the things about set 10 is it's much harder to get emblems, and that's because the whole goal is to play through the headliner mechanic. You just don't get a lot of emblems anymore in this game. They're much harder to get. There's another Kiana. So I could have gotten an earlier Kiana. So again, the play here really is to drop the Yasuo and then play the Kiana and move some of these items that are on Senna over to Kiana, or alternately move them over to the Ziggs, but I've already sold those Ziggs. That's no longer a possibility. I am playing Jazz Trade here, so I wanted to have Lucian in for Rapid Fire, and then I put the Misfortune in as well, which gets the Jazz trait. This is one of my favorite traits here in this set. I'll go ahead and read this. It's basically Stand United augment from an earlier sets. Jazz trait. For each non-unique trait active, your team gains bonus health and bonus damage. Jazz 2 is 2% health, 1% damage for each non-unique trait. Well, Breakout and Wildcard do not count because they are unique traits, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 traits. So that adds up to, by the way, can we finish off this Jinx? And yes, we've got it in a close fight. So let's see, with 6 traits, I get 12% bonus health and 6% bonus damage on every unit. That's really nice. Jazz is also a craftable emblem, so if you can ever get a spatula and a bow in the late game, you can make this, and it's really, really nice. Jazz 4 is 4% health, 3% damage per trait, so I would need to play Blitzcrank, or not Blitzcrank, I would need to play Bard for that, which is not. By the way, there's another Ziggs in the store yet again, so geez. I think I've also seen some Alawis. Like, I should grab these Zacs and Alawi, and as I said, I do think I'm a little lacking in frontline. I have an Echo who's a 2-star unit, or a 3-cost unit. He has good tank items, but it's only 2-star Echo, not 3-star Echo. And then I have a Blitz with no items. I really should get a tank item for Blitz here because they need to get the Cybernetics benefit as well. Now, there's not really good tank items here, unfortunately. So I think I look at these and I was like, all right, Edge of Night, we'll finish itemizing Akali, but really could have used an item on Blitz because, as I said, you get 500 additional health from that, which is a really big deal. So I do think I'm pretty lacking in frontline here. Probably should look to drop some of these damage units. Like, as nice as it is to have Jazz trait, probably should drop some of this and get some additional frontline, to be perfectly honest here. Even though I like Jazz trait, I'm not sure that's really doing all that much. Well, the one thing that I did do was I did move some of those items over to Kayn, who's a 5-cost unit. Now, he is not getting true damage benefit, which would be really nice, but Kayn does deal magic damage, and yeah, he's kind of tearing through some of these. Look at that. He just did 1,090 damage with one of his crits over there. What I'd really want is a healing item on Kayn, so that he can heal off some of the damage he's doing. That doesn't happen, but Akali and Kayn are kind of taking over, so Senna was great for most of the game up to this point, and I actually managed to get her back to 2-star status again. I still have the Shojin on her because it's a really good item on her. It's not such a good item on my other units. And then I do hit 2-star Lucian, so that's kind of nice. We're looking pretty good here overall. I have 2-starred everything except the Blitzcrank, so I do think that the biggest weakness of my comp right now is frontline, and I do wish I had built a little bit stronger frontliners. I've been a bit unlucky not finding any more Blitzcranks. Blitz is not being played by other people in this lobby. Like, you can see the Punk player is playing Pantheon and Guardians, and this person is playing Echo and Riven. So this person doesn't have a Blitzcrank either. No one else is really playing Sentinel frontlines. So I've been a little bit unlucky not finding a 2-star Blitzcrank. That would have been nice. All right, so this person has the 3-star Riven. Can we manage to get through this Riven? It's going to have to be up to Akali right now. We've got Echo got off a nice stun there. Here we go. Another nice stun. There we go. The Echo plus Akali combination. And we're going to knock this person out of the lobby. So now it's down to just me and the Punk player, who is looking pretty good here. Now, again, another Alawi. I could have looked to play Alawi, as I mentioned here. Alawi plus Zac would have been nice for more frontline. I think I have enough damage. If anything, I probably am overloaded on damage here, but I could use some more frontline. So when I'm looking here, I was like, all right, you know what? I think I have 2-star just about everything. What I can do now is I can look to go to level 10. I'll use my Clear Mind benefit. I only need a couple rounds. I only need like 2 or 3 rounds, and I'll be able to go to level 10. And then I can play another unit and maybe re-roll a little bit on level 10. We'll get another item off this carousel. That was my thinking then. I mean, I've won 5 rounds in a row. I was feeling pretty confident at this point in time. But then I come up against this Punk board. This Punk board has 3-starred all 4 of the Punk units. That's Jinx and Vi at the 1-cost tier, and then Pantheon and Twitch at the 2-cost tier. What I really need is for Akali to jump in the back lines and get on the Jinx, but that just doesn't really happen. And I was like, oh boy. Well, this wasn't even close. I just got absolutely destroyed in this. They also got 3-star moves. They actually have 5 different 3-star units. There's also a Punk emblem on here. So I was like, wait, do I go for the Punk emblem? But they just roll in and grab it before I can even do anything. And I was like, okay. I think in retrospect, I maybe should have just grabbed the Punk emblem to deny it to them. But I was like, that's only going to take them to Punk 5, not Punk 6. So might not be that important. At this moment, I was like, I'm probably not going to get to level 9, though. So I'll just go ahead, or level 10. I'll just go ahead and roll here and see if I can hit anything else. in the time. Or actually, no, I think I didn't take the time to roll here. That also may have been a mistake. Probably should have been rolling there. So they go ahead and hit the 3-star Vex, and then they put the Punk emblem on Vex. And I was like, oh, that's maybe I should have denied that Punk emblem. Or ultimately, maybe I should have taken the Gargoyle Stoneplate and put it on Blitzcrank, because he would have gotten 500 additional health, plus the Gargoyle's armor and magic resistances off of that. So this board actually has 6 3-stars on the board. 2 1-cost, 2 2-cost, and 2 3-cost. And they have a Punk emblem on Vex, so Vex is going to get all the additional health and damage. And I was like, from the Punk trait. I was like, I don't think I've got this one. I'm reasonably happy with the game I played, but yeah, that person just kind of hit. Well, by the way, my Punk boards do not look like this when I play Punk. I have never hit as easily as this person hit in this game, so I think that they played it well. I also think they got pretty lucky because they had no reroll augments, but they managed to hit everything and at a very, very early date in this game. So just hit sometimes. I think they were high rolling pretty good. And yeah, I was not able to overcome 6 3-stars at the end of the game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching this one. Again, I do think I could have played the late game better, but it's super early in the set. I'm still trying to figure this out. Hope it was still entertaining to see the true damage team composition. Until next time then, take care, folks. Hope you're having a good week. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.